Alrighty, let's see. 1 second. I can't actually see. Okay. Let me just check that I'm actually live. Alrighty. I am. Yay. Okay, it worked. Okay, that's great. All right. I apologize to those people messaging in saying that you can't find me. That's my fault. I went to press live and my computer completely froze. And so I had to restart at the exact wrong time, and I apologize. So hopefully you can all find me at some point, but as you can see, I'm here alone tonight. Jordan has gone off to play rugby, and he may get back in time to say hello. But I have been looking forward to chatting with you guys tonight. All right, so, okay, I can see that some people are finding me, so that's awesome. We're going to come across here to chat. All right, so I should be able to see your comments now, guys. So let me know if you're here. I can see there's a few numbers on the screen, but I can't actually see who it is because I'm using this streaming software. Beautiful. All right. So, did you watch video 1? I know we've had lots of comments going on in the Facebook group, and it has just, honestly, I've spent a lot of my day in the Facebook group in the comments, and it has just been the best thing ever. And I did shed a tear today on one of those comments. It was particularly heart-wrenching. And I want to thank you for being so vulnerable. There's some really vulnerable comments there in the group, and I love that we have a space that feels safe to do that in, and a space that is supportive, and a space where we all understand that we're coming from different lives with different backgrounds and different challenges, but yet we're all here just trying to put one foot in front of the other and do the best we can for our family. And so I'm really grateful for that. Hey, Amanda. Awesome. I'm glad that you liked the first video. Hey, Trudy. Nice to see you here. All right, so hopefully people will kind of keep coming through. It's a shame that I wasn't live when those messages were scheduled to go out, but here we are. So I remember there was one comment that I read today. One of the ladies in the group said that during the first video she was brought to tears because it was like she was realizing how she was feeling, that all the different feels that we were talking about she could relate to, and she realized what a big part of her life was being taken up by all the headspace, by all the effort, by the resentment, by the tantrums and all that stuff. And so it really struck a chord with her, and I think that seems to be a bit of a common theme coming through. And so I'm just so glad that we can actually start to help with that come Monday. And that's when the second video hits, and we'll actually start taking some action, start actually, making some sly swaps. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, nice. I'm hanging out with you while I'm cooking. That's nice to hear. Hey, Trish. If you're commenting on Facebook, if you're commenting from YouTube, for some reason I can see your name. And if you're commenting from Facebook, I cannot. So maybe just pop your name on the end of any comment you make. That'd be great. But you know what else I noticed in the comments was that people were just so touched that someone asked them how they were. And that was heart-wrenching too. I'm sure there are people in our life who care about us and who actually want to know how we are, but sometimes we all just go through the motions and we forget to check in on the people that we love the most. So I hope maybe it's a reminder for us to reach out to the people that we live with or the people who are close to us and ask, how are you really? It seems to be a question that we need to ask more often. And the other biggest thing that I noticed in the comments was the vast, vast amount of mental health challenges that we're struggling with. There is a lot. I was listening to a talk today by Dr. Perlmutter, who was interviewing another Dr. Perlmutter who wasn't his son. I always thought that they were father and son, but they're apparently not. And they were talking about the link between depression and inflammation. Super insightful interview. So much to learn. But guys, my heart goes out to you. I can sense that we all have a lot. We've got a lot going on in this group. And That's why I think this particular method is going to be quite powerful for all of us. I think that it's going to take the pressure off a little bit. We can just take our foot off the accelerator just a little bit and trust that it's all going to be okay. Oh, hey, Julie. Hey, Louise. Hey, Narelle. That's okay. We've got until, well, you've got, a week and a half to watch video 1, but video 2 drops on Monday, so it's a good idea to watch it sometime between now and then. Hey, Linda. Okay, so the other, so the other thing that people were saying is that Katie's story, I wanted to reach out to Katie today, but I was so busy in the comments that I didn't get a chance to, but I plan to do that tomorrow. I wanted to reach out to Katie and say thank you because her story resonated with lots of you. I think the biggest thing that she said that resonated with you guys was that the day she realized that she needed to lead by example, that she needed to feel good within herself through food before she could push it onto her children. And that was a big aha moment for many of you who have been working so hard and so tirelessly trying to get your kids to eat better. And typical mother, right? We kind of forget about ourselves and prioritize them. But in so doing, kind of being a hypocrite and kind of, expecting them to do something that we're not. And I say that in the most loving of ways because I've done that too. But it was such a great reminder from Katie. So thank you to Katie. If you're watching, thank you from all of us. So on that note, just before we head into the 5 questions in 20 minutes, wish me luck. Before we head into that, I also just wanted to say that we as parents, we may plant the seed of knowledge through example, through, what Katie's doing. We might plant that seed in our children's minds in that way, but that seed might take different amounts of time to germinate for each individual child. Some kids might embrace it right away, and I think there might be the minority. Some kids might, have that slow and gentle simmer over the years. That might be, a larger amount of kids. But some of them may not even understand or see it until they're fully grown adults. And that's okay. Our job as parents is to play our part. Our job can't be to force our kids to do anything. That's not our job. Our job is to provide that influence, provide those opportunities, provide the education. And when they're young, of course, we're just going to do it for them. We're just going to feed them the healthy food. But as they get into those teenage years and beyond, they really do have more independence. They really do have more free choice. And that's when it gets really hard. I had a one-on-one call recently with a mum who was really struggling with that. And actually, I would like to go into that maybe at the next Q&A. I just want to share a really important insight into the angsty teenagers. I would love it. If let me know though, actually, because I've had an angsty teenager in the past, and I sometimes still currently. But I want to know how many others actually want some angsty teenager advice when it comes to whole food. Let me know. Okay, Misha says yes. But let me know if you have a teenager, or I think my sense in the group is that maybe there's more toddlers and young kids, but do let me know and I'll think about raising that at the next Q&A. But for those kids who take so long, it's okay. And I think we need to be patient and realize that we're actually playing the long game here. We're not playing a short game. If we were playing a short game, then we would be more tempted to go down the forceful route, right? But we're not. We need to be more strategic and quite patient and play the long game. And it's so easy to get discouraged when we don't see the results that we know are so important for our kids in their lives to make sure they're happy and well and thriving. And when we don't see that, sometimes we can get a bit panicky and go, I need to fix this. I'm the parent. It's my job. I need to fix it. Well, is it? I think our job is to love unconditionally, provide all the opportunities we can. Hey, Lila, welcome home. One of my teenagers just walked through the door. Take comfort in knowing that your influence as a parent is literally irreplaceable, and that if you're leading by that example, that's huge. That is huge. And if they're not embracing it yet, just be patient. Be patient. That's just my little intro message. I just felt like I needed to share that today. Hey, Bianca. Yeah, it does. I know the battles exist across all ages. I know. Okay, so lots of you who watched video 1 appreciated it, but then also commented, I'm just itching to get into the practical suggestions coming your way. So hang tight for Monday and we're going to get started in that. Trudy says yes to 3 teenagers, definitely. Oh, okay, yep, okay, there's a few teenage parents in the house. Okay, so I loved Bronwyn's comment. She said, I'm hoping to improve the health of my family without compromising my sanity any more than I currently deal with now. And I think that might be the sentiment, the common sentiment amongst the group. Give me a thumbs up or some sort of comment if that is kind of where you're at. Now, as for tonight, this is the plan for tonight. I'm going to answer 5 common popular questions that came through today. I'm also going to pop in a 6th bonus question at the end that I'm not going to have as part of the 20 minutes because it's a big challenge to get through 5 questions in 20 minutes. So I'm not actually promising that I'll do that, but I'll try. And then I'm going to announce the winner of our day 1 homework that we had, which was, the homework was actually to look at the cheat sheet that our naturopath, Jess Donovan, which is not our naturopath, she's my friend naturopath, Jess Donovan. She's wonderful at Natural Super Kids. If you want to go follow her, she's a wealth of advice and wisdom. She helped us put together that cheat sheet. And then also there's a questionnaire there just to help you bring your thoughts to the forefront about how you are, how your family are, and then maybe get some thoughts going about, so we actually do have that symptom that's on that sheet. Let's look at what could be maybe the cause of that. And obviously it's not diagnostic, but it's a very good guideline or supportive indication to help just, guide your thoughts. So if you looked at that, you downloaded that and gave it a go, let me know what you thought of that in the comments. We've had lots of comments about the video. I haven't heard too much about the PDF, so let me know if it was helpful and what potentially could be improved for next time. So I'm going to get started on question 1 and I'm going to set my timer. Oh, good, Misha. Cool. I'm so glad that you thought the cheat sheet was helpful. Vitamins. Oh, and spot on with the vitamins and the deficiency. That's interesting. Did you know that already? And Anna. Oh, Anna's coming in from the UK. Hey, Anna. She's struggling a bit with letting go. I have an 11-year-old with allergies going off to secondary school. She's starting to fight back with food choices. Deep breath. Excuse me. Anna, I'm with you. Stick around. It sounds like there's quite a few parents with teenagers. I'm going to go into it. Next Q&A, that will be my bonus questions / advice on teenagers. And look, I'll be upfront and say that we've got an almost 16-year-old and a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, 9-year-old, and 6. Why did I have to think so long about how old my son is? So we kind of have children spanning across quite a lot of ages. I obviously don't yet have any adult children, but I feel like I've got some insights into a lot of those age groups. So hopefully I can offer some sort of practical advice for you next week on teenagers. Okay, I'll just make sure I'm not missing anything here. Good, awesome. Okay, glad to hear it, guys, in the comments. Thank you for chatting to me there. It helps me feel like I'm actually talking to real people. It's a bit strange. Okay, I'm going to put my timer on. I'm going to give each question 5 minutes. And to be honest, this is quite embarrassing. But when I first said 5 and 20, my brain equated that for 5 minutes each. That would actually be 25 minutes. So I'm just going to set the timer for 5 minutes regardless, because I think that's more realistic. Okay, so the first question was from Trudy. She was really struck, and so were some other people, and deservedly so, with the part of the studies that showed that dark chocolate, was so beneficial in preventing and supporting depression, or preventing depression and supporting those with depression. Super cool piece of research. I know we might have heard something similar about it before, but she was really intrigued by that, and she wanted to know, how can I choose a good quality dark chocolate? Because I did emphasize that that study does not relate to your Cadbury chocolate. It does not relate to the dark chocolate chips at Woolies that are, the first ingredients, sugar. Sorry, it doesn't apply to that. But we're going to look at briefly how to choose a really good quality dark chocolate and what to look for. So The principles, obviously, the darker, the better. The higher percentage of the dark chocolate means the less sugar is in there, right? So the dark chocolate also means that you're not getting any of the poor quality milk product. Usually, it's a milk protein concentrate. There's fake flavors that go in there whenever it's a milk chocolate. That's typically what happens. My sister, who's a chocolatier, may be listening, and I may have got that slightly terminology may have been slightly wrong there, so I apologize. But she's actually a vegan chocolatier, so she wouldn't be putting any of that crap in her chocolate anyway. So when you're looking for a chocolate, you want to have a dark chocolate without the milk product. It's always bad quality. You also want to go for cacao over cocoa. The cacao is raw and unprocessed, which means the nutrients aren't damaged. But here's some more tips. So usually when we're looking at a food label, we always say, look, ignore the front, flip it over and look at the back, and you want to see the ingredients. But also we usually place a lot of importance on the nutritional panel. But in this case for chocolate, the ingredient list is really where your eyes want to go. If you see the word flavor in that list, just put it right back. If you see vegetable oil, just put it right back. What you want to see is any one of these 3 cacao products as the base. You can have the cacao, I never know if I don't know if it's called cacao liqueur or liquor, but it's probably liqueur, cacao liqueur, or paste, cacao paste, or cacao butter or cacao powder. They're the 4 terms for a good quality dark chocolate. They are the most nutritious ingredients that make up the base of the dark chocolate. Now, also, a good quality dark chocolate will have that just one type of sugar, not a whole bunch of types of different sugar, just one, and it should be near the end of the ingredient list, which means that it's obviously less present, just a smaller part of the chocolate. Now, the type of sugar is also important. You do want to steer clear of all those sugar alternatives of the erythritol, the maltitol, and the different like natfia types of combinations of all those alternative sugars. That would be a conversation for a whole other day as to why we want to avoid those ones. But suffice to say that you want to just go for, in an ideal world, you'd want the sugar to be, a whole food source like a rapadura or a coconut sugar. In reality, they're few and far between, and I'm going to give you a great supermarket option in a minute, which, is just sugar. I think it's a raw sugar, but, ideally you'd want to have like a whole food sugar, but I know that it can be hard to find and source that type of chocolate. So soy lecithin is a common ingredient in chocolate, and it's actually okay. Like, I'm not going to demonize all emulsifiers and all preservatives and all additives. It would be a little bit foolish to do so. However, it's not a necessary ingredient in a good quality chocolate, but it's not damaging either. So if you have good gut health, if you don't have gut problems, soy lecithin is going to be okay in moderation. So 2 supermarket brands to look out for. The best one in terms of being organic and having the cacao ethically sourced, which is awesome, is Green and Black. You can find Green and Black at Woolies. I'm fairly certain you can find it at Coles. The ingredients all check out. The only thing I didn't really find with Green and Black is the really high percentage of cacao. On the other hand, Lindt, who are not organic and they're not ethically sourced, but their ingredients are so simple. They've just got 4 ingredients, sugars at the end. It's only one type of sugar. There's no emulsifiers. There's no flavors. There's none of that. It's actually really great ingredients apart from those 2 things. But the thing that I like about the Lindt chocolate is that they have varying... Oh, that wasn't 5 minutes. That was my alarm. All right, I'll give myself another 2 minutes. I won't even need that much. I'm almost done. Probably won't need that much. The good thing about Lindt chocolate when you're training your children to like dark chocolate over milk chocolate is that they have various grades of percentage to dark chocolate. So that means that you can start your kids on the Lindt milk chocolate or, the lowest percent on the dark scale of Lindt, and then gradually build up. And that's what I did with myself too, because I was a chocolate addict. No joke. I would have to have chocolate after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, and in between. I was eating a lot of chocolate. And it took me a long time to kick that, I will call it what it was, an addiction. But now I really enjoy the 90% dark chocolate. And my kids do too, because as I was increasing toward the dark side, my kids would come and raid my chocolate in the door of the fridge, and their taste buds were acclimatizing along with mine. So that's the great thing about Lindt chocolate. But ideally, green and black is better because it's ethically sourced and organic. So I hope that helps. That was the 2 supermarket brands of good quality chocolate that will assist you in your mental health, because it's going to help prevent depression. It sounds so crazy to say out loud, but that's exactly what the studies are showing. And it's just delicious. It's nice to have a treat on hand that, is serving you well. It's great for your gut microbiome. It's got lots of fiber and it activates lots of the microbes in your gut too. We could talk forever about chocolate. It actually, I'm not going to digress. It does cool things for stem cells too. Okay, if you want a homemade chocolate, it's dead easy. It's probably not very helpful for me to say it with my words over the screen because it would go in one ear and out the other. So I'm going to post it in the group. It's not the kind of chocolate you can pack in a lunchbox because it will melt when it's out of the fridge, but gee, it's delicious, and gee, it's ridiculously simple. And collaborator Lisa Corder from Small Steps Living, it's her recipe that she contributed to our website, and so I will post that in the group for you when we get off. That was about 7 minutes. I'm going to try to speed that up for the next question. Let me know what you thought about the chocolate. Was that helpful? Is that something that you'll be looking for next time you go shopping at the supermarket? Let me know. Okay, question number 2. I'm going to set my alarm again. This one, let me see. I should be able to keep that to the 5 minutes. Here we go. Carol asked, I have a question from the PDF that came up with video 1. I have ridges on my nails, and it says that it's due to low stomach acid. My question is, how do I fix it, please? Now, I'm going to preface my answer by saying that I am not a qualified health practitioner. So any advice I give, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I love learning about nutrition. I have loved coaching my children through, coaching myself through, and coaching thousands of people online over the years of how to transition your family over to whole foods. And I've learned a lot in the process and learned from lots of experts, but I'm not qualified. So please consult with your health practitioner before you go ahead and do anything that you're wanting to treat with your body. So in answer to your question though, stomach acid is, otherwise known as gastric acid, is essential for our digestive process. And when we don't have enough, sometimes we don't absorb those key minerals and proteins that we need. So low stomach acid is sometimes referred to as hypoglycemia. Say that 10 times fast. And it can cause the slow transit times. Now, if you've done our fiber challenge, you'll know what a transit time is. It's the time it takes for the food to go from when you put it in your mouth, in your fork, and then when it exits into the toilet. That's your transit time. An ideal transit time is between 12 and 24 hours. And if you have low stomach acid, it's going to slow that right down. And that will mean that it's going to affect your body's ability to detox all of or to expel all the toxins that we don't need, all those excess hormones that we don't need anymore. So it can cause some issues. So here are some tips to increase the stomach acid in your body. Number 1 is to chew your food. When you chew the food, it's such a simple tip, and you kind of think that we'd all be doing it, but honestly, as you would know, we're on the go a lot, and I do this to have to remind myself constantly to actually take the time to sit and focus and dedicate that time to my meal. But when you do that and you chew your food properly, it activates the cephalic stage of digestion, which is getting all those digestive enzymes starting to crank up and work for you. And so that's only one way to activate the cephalic stage, though. I think it activates about 33% of the cephalic stage, but there are many other ways. Even just anticipating food at a restaurant, when you've ordered your food and it's taking so long and your stomach starts gurgling and your body's ready for food because your mind is so powerful that it's already tricked your body into thinking food's on the way and needs to get ready. You might know the study of Pavlov's dogs, where they trained the dogs to salivate at the ringing of a bell. And so that's the same with us. if we are ready for our food, if we're seeing it, if we're hearing it cooking, if we're smelling it, all that stuff activates the cephalic stage of digestion. So make sure you're ready for your food. You're not just grabbing it and holding it down without thinking about it. The other thing is to limit processed foods, eat fermented veggies, which, I wish we could talk about that. We don't have time. The other tips would be to have lots of acidic foods. So things like apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, tomatoes and pineapple, vinegar-based salad dressings, all those things help to activate all that digestive process. And actually a great way to start the day is to have that little shot of apple cider vinegar in water or lemon juice in water. Just use a straw so you don't wreck the enamel on your teeth like I did. Don't look closely, please. But my two front teeth are missing enamel down the bottom because I did lemon juice in the morning for so many years without knowing to use a straw. So my dentist got me in big trouble for that. So it's got great health benefits, but please use a straw. And the last tip to generate more of that stomach acid is to eat ginger. So there's quite a few tips there to activate and to generate more of that stomach acid. But again, I would suggest you go and consult with a health practitioner. The crew over at Cultured Wellness with a K, culturedwellness.com, are amazing. My family work with them quite closely, and they will be able to do all the sorts of tests that you need to run to check how your digestion is going and what your levels are at. I'm finished that question number 2 with 16 seconds to spare. Are you proud of me? All right. Oh, good. I've just checked in the comments there, and I can see that you guys appreciated the chocolate info. Good. Okay. Glad it's hitting the mark for you guys. Now, I am going to answer this next question from Danielle. I'm going to see if I can copy and paste this link in. Let me know if you see this at your end. It's telling me that it's posted it on YouTube, but it's not posting it as a comment in Facebook. Hi, Max. Do you want to come and say hi? Come on. This is my Max. You want to say hi? Watch out for my drink here. Do you want to say hi? Max is on his way to bed, aren't you, buddy? Now's a good time. We just finished watching a movie. We watched The War Against Grandpa. Is that what it was called? It was great. Oh, look, someone said hi, Max. Can you see that? Hi, Max. All right, Maxie, I got to get going. We're going to answer another question, bud. I'm back. Looks like it's appearing on YouTube, but not Facebook for some reason. All right, bud. Okay, question 3 is from Danielle. She said, oh my gosh, I loved the peer-reviewed medical journals. I so need them for my science brain. Is there any chance you can provide a list of the internet links or names of the studies? I would actually love to read through them all. Amazing. I said to Danielle, it's not really your light bedtime reading, but sure. I've put together the links to the studies. I'm so happy. So many of you loved that. And I was glad to hear it because I never quite know how many people are going to be bored out of their brain listening to all the studies and how many people will actually really appreciate it. So I'm glad that you loved it. So I have now put that link up. Again, I will post it into the Facebook group and include it on the next email. So it's there for you. And it will actually, the link I'm giving you will actually automatically create your own copy of the file. So you don't have to worry about changing my file. It's just going to edit your side. There you go. That was a quick answer to the question too. Next question, I am starting my 5-minute timer. Pre and probiotics. Oh my gosh, so many of you were asking questions about this. Belinda and Heidi and Katja and a couple of others. Belinda said, I'm excited about the little steps. Would love more info on probiotics and prebiotics and what foods assist this for kids too. Heidi said, probiotics was the biggest one I'm wondering about, as I have no idea if it's in our diet at all. So keen to see if we can combat this anxiety by more diet changes as well as making other life changes. Yes, yes, and yes. Probiotics and prebiotics. Again, we could talk forever about this. I'm going to go for 5. Here we go. Cancel, start. Here we go. Okay, so probiotics are actual good live good beneficial bacteria that you put into your gut through either a supplement, like a tablet form, perhaps you'd be most familiar with, or a fermented food. So we're going to go into what types of fermented foods there are in just a moment. Prebiotics are the food for the good bacteria. So that's there's no point putting probiotics into your gut if you don't have a really thriving community of, sorry, I'm going to say that around the other way. There's no point putting probiotics into your gut if you don't have the food there for them. And the food for the good bugs is fiber. Prebiotics is a type of fiber. So really we just need fiber. So it's like putting fertilizer on the grass. So the grass is the microbes, the good bugs. And the prebiotics is like putting fertilizer on them so they can grow and thrive, and you're going to have a beautiful green lawn inside your gut. Hopefully that was a good analogy. So prebiotics are a type of fiber found in lots and lots and lots of your plant-based whole foods. So when it comes to probiotics, they are remarkable. I don't have a lot of experience with the supplement type. I have used them in the past, and I do still have some right there in the drawer that I keep meaning to use, but I'm not in a position to be able to recommend brands of supplements or anything like that. But when it comes to actually prioritizing putting probiotic foods and prebiotic foods into eating them myself and feeding them to the kids has been amazing. Particularly when it comes to, okay, so I went through adrenal fatigue, and technically I'm actually still healing from adrenal fatigue. But I remember the first day that I really came to know something was quite wrong with me. And that was Rose. Rose is now 6. She was probably 2 or 3. And maybe 3. Since she was newborn, I was in the habit of getting up at 3 in the morning and working on my computer until the kids wake up on the Whole Food Collective, and then going through the day with the, sending the big kids off to school and spending my day with the little kids at home, and then just doing it all over again the next night. And I was doing that for years, lacking sleep. There was lots of other stuff in life happened at the same time. So life was extremely stressful and I wasn't getting enough sleep. It was quite silly looking back on it. But I entered this stage of adrenal fatigue where my cortisol bottomed out and it was having a real hard time. And so I called Jess, the naturopath, who put together that cheat sheet, and I had a Zoom appointment with her, and she said, Lainey, you need lots of good fats and you need probiotic foods and you need more sleep. So I got the more sleep and I've got the good fats and the probiotics into my diet. And I can tell you I forgot to tell you, the reason that I knew something was wrong was that I had made porridge every morning for my children for probably a decade. I had made porridge. And so I could make porridge with my eyes closed. This one day when I just finished working for like 4 hours on my computer, no problem whatsoever. I was typing emails. I was on, fire, just, production, just line. I was just go, completely fine. Slammed the laptop down, went to the kitchen because the kids woke up, went to make porridge. I had no idea how to make porridge. My brain, it was just like my brain broke. I just couldn't think of how to make porridge. And that's when I knew something was desperately wrong with myself. And so that's when I sought help for it. And it's amazing the power of food, the probiotics and the good fats. My gut and my brain needed those two things. And so I can talk for a long time about that stuff because I've felt the difference in my own life. And one of our children was struggling with anxiety, debilitating anxiety, actually, late last year. Yeah, around about maybe 12 months ago. And she was having trouble attending school, all the rest of it. It's a long story. Some of you will know it. And it turned out she had some parasites that were causing havoc. They were causing the anxiety. They were doing all sorts of stuff. So we went, thank you, 20 seconds left. I might have to cut that story short. But long story short, probiotics, fermented foods, good fats, just brought our daughter back to us. Within 6 weeks, she was back at school and loving it, and she's a completely different person. So those things are really important, and it's great. Okay, she's 3. He's counting it down, 3 seconds to go. So where do we find these foods? It's amazing how time passes so quickly. 2 minutes to talk about the rest. Where do we find these foods? Number one, probiotics are found in things like sauerkraut and kimchi. They're those fermented vegetables. And it's an acquired taste, I'll give you that. But the recommendation I know from the gut expert that we work with, Kirsty Worth, is to have just put it on the table for every meal. Just put it on the table. Have a tablespoon of it yourself on the side of your meal, and just again lead by that example. And when our kids are little, they're more open to trying new things, and so you've got such an advantage if your children are tiny and you're just putting it out there. They grow. Like our little Rose was choosing to drink that green powder juice, like to get the greens powder. I would make that every morning, and she loved it. And there were other things too that they just love because I gave it to them as babies. Whereas other things that I waited, it's not impossible to get them to love it, but it takes a bit of patience, takes a bit of strategy. Oh, thanks, Max. It's okay. I'll just close that. That's fine. So sauerkraut and kimchi. You've got yogurt. Yogurt is, a regular yogurt is it's a weaker probiotic, and there's often lots of yuck stuff put on top of it. You want to make sure it's pot set, it's organic, it's made from whole milk instead of milk powder and skim milk powder, and without additives and sugars and things. So I actually make our own yogurt from the Cultured Wellness starters. It sounds harder than it is. All you do is chuck 3 cans of coconut cream in a glass jar, chuck the starter in, mix it up, and wait for 2 days, and it's done. That's it. And that is brimming with probiotics. And they're very targeted strains of microbes as well, so particularly great for things like anxiety. I can pass the link on for that if you like to. Other things are coconut water kefir, which is the same deal. I make one myself, but you can get milk kefir. You can Google that. It's so accessible. Tempeh, which is that fermented soy, like tofu type of thing. You've got miso paste, which we will be talking about on Monday. We've got kombucha, etc. So those are all the probiotic foods. So I would recommend choosing one. Thanks, Max. You can go to bed now. Thank you. I love you. You can just choose one of those probiotic foods and just put it on the table. Try it yourself. Be patient with it. Be gentle with it. No pressure whatsoever for other people to try it, and just give it a go. When it comes to prebiotics, this is easy, guys. Prebiotics. You've got garlic and onion. You can put those things in anything, including, gee whiz, garlic and onion and leek. They're 3 things you can just put in almost every meal, right? Every dinner meal. So just routinely put that stuff in. You've got asparagus, which I find a bit harder. I'm not a huge asparagus eater myself. I need to get better at that one. Barley that you can add. If you're ever making a soup, just add some barley to it. Now, this next one, dead easy. It's such a staple for our family. Oats, rolled oats. You can obviously make porridge, have raw oats with frozen raspberries on top and some cinnamon. Delicious for breakfast. Granolas, homemade muesli bars or muffins. You can whiz it up into a flour and make pancakes. Oats are just so easy and such a massively powerful food. I listened to a health summit recently with dozens of highly respected specialists, doctors from around the world, and all of them, except for one, said that they eat porridge every morning for breakfast because it's such a wonderful superfood, if you want to call it that. It is just robust with lots of different things, and so prebiotics is one of those things. Okay, apples and cacao and flaxseed and seaweed and green bananas. Bottom line, just eat whole foods and you're going to cover all your bases, okay? I hope that helps and clears up the pre and probiotics. Oh, thanks, Misha. 4 cans of coconut cream to make that fermented yogurt. Oh, thanks for all the hellos to Max too, guys. That's wonderful. Okay, cool. Alrighty. We are powering through. I'm doing better than I usually do. This is the very first time I've ever put a time limit on my answers. And I think it's a good idea that I did because, as you can tell, I like to talk. It's funny how we say figures of speech like that, because I'm actually not a huge talker, but when it comes to this stuff, I can talk for a long time. So last question, lunch boxes. Okay, Francel's comment was this. let me skip the bits that don't relate to this question at hand. Okay. There's always comparison with other kids' lunchboxes and daily acceptable junk food. So I've had to buy similar but better choices of snacks. And thankfully, my daughter enjoys baking with me. It's mind blowing how many packets can be eaten on a daily basis for kids. Agreed. It's scary when we think of the health outcomes in 10 to 20 years for them. Agreed again. We've made lots of steps, some they don't know about. Okay, so that's not about lunchboxes. So she basically wants some ideas about lunchboxes. Now, guys, this is a huge, I'm putting my timer on for 6 minutes right now. We don't have time to go into the ins and outs and depths of lunchboxes right now, but I recognize that it's a really hard area for so many families, and it's quite a complex situation because one, you've got your own kids' preferences, right? Two, you've got to keep things hot or cold or not. Three, you've got the pressure of that toxic food culture that we spoke about in video 1. And then you've got the comparison-itis and the trying to fit in with the crowd. And it's just there's many competing forces at play. And so even kids who do eat quite well at home may refuse to eat that way at school because of not wanting to be singled out as being different, or because this is one for our high schooler kids. They're just too busy. They want to be on the go. They don't want to sit down with fiddle around with a fork or a spoon or a thermos at lunchtime. They just want to grab something to do with a sandwich or a packet and just go play. Like they walk around the school or campus and they don't want to sit and do that. So even though I can't go into obviously solving the whole lunchbox issue right now because of lack of time, but what I can do, I can touch on something right now that may help take the pressure off a little bit when it comes to school lunchboxes. And I believe that I spoke to a naturopath, Georgia Harding of Well Nourished. You may know her. She's wonderful. I remember having this conversation with her once, and we spoke about bookending the day. And that means that we focus on what the kids are eating right before they go to school, and then we focus on what they're eating when they first come back from school for afternoon tea. If they are getting a robust amount of macro and micronutrients at those two times, we don't have to stress so much about what goes in the lunchbox. Obviously, we want the best for our kids. We want to be giving them great things in their lunchbox. But at this stage where it might feel tricky for you, it might feel like, they're just not going to accept anything. This can really take the pressure off when you think about that. And even Georgia herself was saying that her didn't want to take any lunch to school for a large portion of high school. And that was her strategy as well, as she bookended the day. And our two older girls don't take, they say that this is across the board for high school. They don't take a school bag. They take their laptop bag with their laptop in it. And they don't take a lunchbox because it doesn't fit in their laptop bag. It's ridiculous, but that's the reality. And so they just take whatever they can slide into the pocket of their laptop bag. Really? Oh my gosh, that was embarrassing. I just spat at the camera of the laptop. Hopefully that didn't feel like it landed on you. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff we're facing as parents when it comes to school lunches. So some suggestions some ideas that I suggest that don't require much effort would be these. And again, we could go into lots of ideas that do require some cooking, like muffin recipes and muesli bar recipes, and that can just be for a different day. Right now, we're all here to get the easy wins and the hacks and the no fuss. So we're just going to talk about breakfast and after school ideas real quick. For breakfast, if you know me at all, you will know that I'm a smoothie gal. So smoothies in the morning are dead set the easiest way to get vegetables, good fats, those probiotic foods. Everything that you need can go in that smoothie, and A, be absolutely delicious, and B, the kids won't know, right? Gradually build it up to even more. Like right now, I'm up to a ridiculous amount of vegetables in our morning smoothie. And so yes, a smoothie for breakfast, or the alternative is chocolate milkshake. I can post a recipe in the group for that tomorrow. that the chocolate milkshake is for those people who, some people just don't like the thickness or texture of smoothies, but they will have the milkshake. But I've mastered a milkshake that has 3 veggies and some other great stuff in there too. So I'll give you that recipe. Porridge, as we've spoken about, amazing. And you can boost it very easily with some cinnamon, which is fantastic for many reasons, and some raw honey. How easy is that? Porridge with cinnamon and raw honey. We could talk again about how to boost that even further, and we've even developed and sell a porridge booster. But even if you just want to keep it super simple, that is something to start with. The other ideas would be if your kids are toast kids. I know so many kids are just, they love their toast for breakfast, and that's an easy hack too. We're going to talk a little bit about something similar to that in Monday's video. I don't want to give it away just yet, but if you can just make sure that that's good quality toast, and that maybe you're putting some avocado on top, maybe some scrambled eggs on top of that if you've got time, but even just avocado on a good quality toast is going to be much more helpful to them than, say, I don't know, Wheat Bix or a cereal or something like that. So baby steps in that way is a good way to go. One thing that our family love is something called an oat pancake. I don't know why we named it that, because it's not really a pancake, but I'll post a recipe in the group tomorrow for that. What we do is I make a big batch of that at the start of the week, and I keep it in the fridge. And then each morning I just take some out and I dump some in the fry pan, I just make a big, like, flapjack type thing and cut it up and put it on the kids' plates, and it's done. That timer. I'll have to change my timing for next time. But that is a great way to go to. We put raspberries and flax seeds and other seeds. It takes maybe 6 minutes just to put it together the first time, and then it's there for the whole week. I do the same thing with what our kids are obsessed with at the moment, and that is rice pudding, which is brown rice, cinnamon, nutmeg, strawberries, and sultanas and a sweetener. So I will make that and I'll put it into a little container, a big container, put it in the fridge, and every morning I'll just warm it up with some milk, and that's it. And so there are really easy ways to bookend the days. So that's breakfast. Afternoon tea, real quick, guacamole or hummus with veggie sticks. If your kids aren't really embracing veggie sticks yet, put something that they already love alongside that. That might be crackers and cheese. It might be whatever else they love. Just put it on a platter together. Even if they don't eat the guacamole or the hummus or the veggie sticks to start with, every single exposure, whether it's just visual or they might touch it or maybe smell it on their way through, like all of those sensory exposures make a difference. And there's lots of studies to back that up, that the more exposures we have to something, the quicker we are to accept it over time and even embrace it. And so even if you chop things up that they don't even eat, that's a win still. How cool is that? Though we are helping our kids. So even just passing you something at the shops, like, can you go and find the broccoli and put it in the trolley for me? That's going to be something that actually helps them break down those barriers. So there's lots of ways that we can help our kids without being so confrontational. Other afternoon tea snacks, pikelets. Again, I will send you the best recipe for a high protein pikelet. It just is like hemp seeds and oats and dates, an egg. I think that's it. And it's just so nutrient dense and it's so delicious. So pikelets, you just whiz it up in the blender. It's literally just, sometimes when we haven't made something before and it has, maybe 4 ingredients and maybe they're not ingredients that we're used to using a whole lot, like hemp seeds or dates or something, it can feel a bit like, oh, that's a big effort. But really, making a piece of toast doesn't feel like much effort anymore, does it? But really, you've got to get out the bread and the butter and whatever spread, put it in the toaster, wait for it to cook. Like, if someone's never made toast before, that's going to look like a big effort and might be a bit overwhelming. It's such a silly example, but it's true. Now I look at making pikelets or making it with all the added goodness in there. I look at that just like making toast. It takes less time. It's so streamlined, and it's, and I'm so happy to help with routines and knowing how to do things. Just put it in the comments and I can help. Okay, I'm going to have to skip the rest, but my other favorite afternoon tea suggestion is an apple sliced up with natural peanut butter. It's delicious. The kids adore it. Okay, Someone says, I can't wait for toast hacks. My kids are nuts for toast and I'd love to make it more nutritious. Yes. Okay, turn up Monday, and that's all I'm saying. Could you please share the rice pudding recipe? Yes, I can do that. I'll put a post in the group tomorrow for you. And Trish said, my smoothies are the best. Oh, thank you. Misha said, it's so hard trying to encourage the teen to avoid gluten and sugar while out and about. Oh, Misha. Okay. Next time that we do a Q&A, which is Tuesday night, and you've already said that you want to be there for the teenager advice, and I know that we've actually had some PMs go back and forth already, but I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about exactly what you've just said, so just hang tight. Misha said the lunchbox issue is huge for high school. Yeah, and Misha also focuses on dinner and after school and breakfast. Awesome. Good. Ooh, add dukkha onto the apple and peanut butter. Ooh, yes. I'll have to try that. Okay, Narelle said, is chia pudding okay? Narelle, it is more than okay. Absolutely. Chia pudding is the bomb, especially if for us women who might be not as young anymore, it really is very supportive of us when our hormones are changing. It's particularly wonderful, the combination of fibers and good fats together, along with a third option. What was that? It's gone from my memory. But in a chia pudding, there are usually three things. If you use coconut cream, there's the good fats, the fiber, and there's something else. But anyway, the three combined are like the dream team when it comes to aiding hormone detoxification. So absolutely, I can't sing the praises of chia pudding enough. I better take this off, that link. There we go. All right, guys. We are up to, oh my gosh, it's been an hour. How is that even possible? Okay, you're still with me. I just had to check you were still with me because I have been talking for an hour. It's funny, I did actually reach almost, kind of not far off the timings for each of those questions, but there's so much to say that are outside of those questions. Guys, I'm going to give a bonus question now, and that is how do I handle, someone said, how do I handle incessant junk food requests from my kids? I have a strong belief about this, so I'm going to now share it. But guys, I know you may need to go to bed, and I'll completely understand. If you need to jump off now, you're more than welcome, and you can catch what I'm going to say on the replay if you like. But I'm just going to answer that last question, and then I'm going to give out a prize. Oh, hang on. Oh, no, I'm going to announce the prize winner from yesterday. But even if you're not here when I announce it and you're the winner, that's okay. You'll still get the prize. So, guys, this is the answer to the last question. How do I handle incessant junk food requests from my kids? Okay, we need to identify what we as parents are responsible for. We are responsible for the food on offer at home. We are not responsible for how much they eat. So we offer the food, we offer the options of what they have to choose from. If they even have a choice. I'm not a restaurant. I certainly don't offer many options at dinner. There's just one. But, they've got choices if they have a snack or whatever. We provide what is at home. They decide how much they're going to eat. And within the walls of my home, our home, I'm responsible for what comes in and what doesn't. So at our place, we actually don't bring junk food home, except for if it's a night like State of Origin. And we have a bit of a tradition where we'll grab some processed junk on those nights. And I'm going to tell you my theory about that in just a moment. But in general, 98% of the time, we do not, it's just whole foods in our home. That's just the way we live. When we're out, there's some discretion there. I see it as a great opportunity for us as parents to facilitate the kids learning about the connection between food and how they feel. Because if they can learn that skill when they're young, that is going to stand them in great stead for when they're older. And let me explain. So if the kids want something that is obviously not going to serve them, not going to serve their body or their mind, sometimes I'll say no, because I'm aware of their toxic load. If they've already had a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to be great for them at, it might have been someone's birthday at school that day, they've already had cake, and then they went to some after school thing and they had something there and then we've gone somewhere, I'm just going to say no. Sorry, you've had enough. Like, I'm not saying yes to that. But there are other times where I'll actually say yes, even if it's loaded with all that grossness, like a slushy or something. Sometimes I will say yes. You might be surprised to hear that, but I do. And the reason I do that is because I want to provide them with that opportunity to notice how it feels. And so I'll make sure that I say yes, they get their thing, they eat it, and then I check in with them. I'm like, well, how do you feel? And they'll answer. And then maybe at 30 minutes, I might say that at 30 minutes after they eat it. And then they might say, I feel great because they've got this sugar rush, They're like, oh, I feel on top of the world. I'm all like energetic. Then in a couple of hours' time, I say, hey, how are you feeling now? And if they're being honest, they will usually begin to think about how they're feeling and realize that they're actually not feeling so crash hot. And so that is an invaluable experience for them to learn about their own health journey. And if we get too strict with them, there is a chance that it might backfire on us. And perhaps they won't even tell us the truth when we say, how are you feeling? Because they know what we're going to say afterwards. We're going to say, well, I told you so, but we can't do it like that. We'll just say, oh, that's interesting. And then let them draw the conclusions, right? Obviously, this is quite age specific. This is not going to be appropriate for a 2-year-old, and a teenager is going to be highly appropriate. But even the tween age, my son Max, who's 9, he just turned 9. Even when he was 7 and 8, he was completely capable of having that insight into how he was feeling. So it's interesting now that we've been having whole foods for so long at home and the kids are used to high quality food, they're used to feeling like they're powering, feeling like the food is doing something great for them, feeling like they're fresh inside. When they go to a friend's house and maybe they eat differently to us, they still go over there. When they come home, they are craving. Like, I remember one day, Lila, who would have been maybe 12, came home from a sleepover and she said, Mum, give me a salad. I need a salad. And so her body has now developed this feeling of like, that's what's normal for her now, is to feel good on the inside. And then when she gets lots of junk for an extended period of time, she's just craving that goodness back. And I believe that comes from her getting in tune with how she feels. And so the other reason that I feel okay with that is that it's the everyday foods that matter more than those infrequent foods that we have. And so the more whole foods we're getting at home as well, the greater our body's ability to detox the occasional thing that we might say yes to when we're out and about, right? And so if we're doing that in the name of teaching them to identify how they feel, it's amazing. Maybe it's the occasional birthday party, or one thing I wanted to touch on, maybe it's just the reality of being in the culture that we live in. And so one thing that I wanted to touch on is that sometimes, like, if we were being really idealistic with our food choices and where we spend our dollar, what we say yes to, what we say no to, if we were just being completely idealistic, I would say no to every processed food that came our way ever, full stop, right? We would vote with our dollar. We would show those companies that we're not going to buy their product. But we have this tension as a parent, right? We have this tension of our children are living in this world. Their friends are living in this world. And I just don't think it's fair to impose our zealotry, is that a word, on them when they're the ones living in that world. And I feel like if they're going to be seen as different all the time, they're never allowed this, never allowed that, it's going to be seen as this big taboo. This processed food world is going to be this big taboo topic, that they always feel it's out of reach. They're going to want it more, and they're going to feel quite ostracized from their community, from their friendship groups and school environment. And I feel like there is a little bit of power when it comes to raising a family in this food culture that we find ourselves in, to sometimes say yes just because we're living in this society, and it's okay for our kids to feel like that's okay sometimes, and just because they want to, yeah, okay, do it this time, that's fine. And maybe you won't agree with me, but I actually find that is one of the ways that I make this work for our family. because I love my kids. I feel so strongly about the detriment of the food industry, but I'm not going to be so idealistic about food and supporting the corporations at at the detriment of my kids feeling good about what we're doing. My main goal is these guys embracing what I so dearly want them to embrace, that's going to make them thriving and happy. And if having a bit of junk food occasionally is just making them feel like it's okay and it's not this big taboo thing and my body can handle it, I'm waffling now, then that's okay. So that's my philosophy around dealing with the kids' incessant questions about junk food, if that's what's happening in your house. Obviously, you're going to know your kids best, and you've got to trust yourself on that. Sometimes, like I said, I will say a flat out no, because I know that they've had enough recently, and I don't want that toxic load to build and build. But yeah, sometimes it might be appropriate to say yes. So I hope that helped. I'm going to stop there because it's been so long, but I'm going to touch base in the comments. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys found it helpful. Thanks, Narelle and Anna and Facebook user who I don't know your name. Okay, so the winner for video 1 yesterday is Kirsten Baker. Kirsten, thank you for commenting in the Facebook group, and we're gonna give you a 3-month pass to the upcoming monthly coaching membership. The monthly coaching membership is going to be great in the way that we can delve more into these topics, and that it should be at a more manageable pace as well. We're going to, just pace things really well. So it's not going to be overwhelming, and it's just going to be one thing at a time, and you won't have to really think about what to do next. I'll just say, hey, this month we're doing this, and it's going to be easy, and I'll do a 10-minute video, and that's something that you'll get to do. And you can take action and get momentum. So Kirsten, I hope that you're really excited about that as much as I am. Right, guys, I need to say goodnight to you. It's late for you. It's late for me. Thank you, Louise. Thanks, Misha. Guys, I hope you have a great sleep. This is all from us. It's Friday night. We're going to have the weekend off. No one wants to work on the weekend. You guys don't want to be watching videos on the weekend. Unless you haven't watched video 1, then you need to watch a video on the weekend. I will be filming on the weekend because, as I may have told you, we're a bit backlogged with preparation for this boot camp. So we're actually filming all day tomorrow. But it's lucky that we love what we do. Jordan and I have a lot of fun when we're filming together, and hopefully the kids will have fun doing whatever they're going to do. All right, have a great night, have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday for video 2, where we get to take some action, and it will be a choose your own adventure too. So whatever you might have done in the past, you skip it. Whatever you haven't done yet, choose what you want to do best. Watch that video, and that's what you get to action this week. You get to actually make some progress, and I can't wait to see your photos and hear your feedback. Have a great night. Bye, guys.